I have been tracking central bank digital currency engagements for so long on this channel, as you guys are probably all aware of, and I even put a spotlight on how fast things have been changing around central bank digital currency engagements and moves around, moving from the research phase, the POC phase, to even the pilot phase, and also some even launching. It's been crazy to witness, and I do believe that everyone that holds HBAR should also be focused on this because Hedera is an enabler of CBDCs as well. And we're going to be talking about that. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. And also for those out there that are not in the free Discord with 6,000 plus additional members, what are you guys waiting for? It is the #1 crypto Discord in the space. I put everything on that. Join it. You won't regret it. And there's a link at the top of the description for you guys to join it. And with that being said, let's dive on in. So like I said, yes, things have been changing rapidly around CBDC engagements. In fact, if we just go back, let's go back to August of 2020. Okay, look at the map from August of 2020. 4 years later, this is how massive the CBDC move has become. And for everyone out there saying like, oh, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies are stablecoins. They're government issued stablecoins. That's all they are. Everyone has been blowing, CBDCs out of proportion. And yes, there's a lot of problems tied to them. Privacy is a big key, but I don't believe that we will actually be even touching central bank digital currencies issued out by governments. I think that we will be utilizing CBDC or stablecoins that are issued out by private companies like Ripple, for an example. Those stablecoins are things that you use today. If you're utilizing Tether or Circle, you're technically utilizing a CBDC, but it's not issued out by the government. So the government does not have a hand in that. It is private companies, and we will have that. And that's the currencies that I personally believe that we will be utilizing as, citizens and as retail. But governments will have their CBDCs. Now, outside of this, one of the big companies that have been pushing central bank digital currencies as well is Microsoft. I know that sounds crazy, but yes, Microsoft has been pushing CBDCs over on their website from June 20th, and we're going to be talking about why this is important as well. They put out a full breakdown, which was central bank digital currencies accelerating a digital economy with advanced technology. Now, if we look into this, we have to keep abreast of the opportunities surrounding these changes, many central banks are actively experimenting with the idea of issuing digital versions of national currency in the form of CBDCs. And this is because of digital payments, how, cash is changing, how, digital formats of currencies like stablecoins themselves have been rallying against traditional payment networks like Visa, for example. And this is where we start to see central banks really kind of take this space seriously. It's also where we start to see governments taking this space very seriously as well. Now, they do mention the benefits of CBDCs, cross-border payments, integrated smart contracts, liquidity and settlement finality, more accessible government-to-person payments, new formats for payments and transfers as well, and also even financial inclusion. Now, like I said, I don't believe that, CBDCs are going to be the currency that we typically transact in. I could very well be wrong. But I do support stablecoins over CBDCs. But if I am saying that, what's the big difference? It's just the issuer of the actual stablecoin that changes the overall view here. But outside of this, we continue to see Microsoft be a big player around CBDCs as well, and even around this technology. In fact, Microsoft has been at the forefront of DLT and blockchain moves for a very long time. And we're going to talk about why this is important, especially when it comes to Hedera. Now, more recently, on July 8th, we saw a big announcement regarding Sweden Central Bank testing Algorand and also Hedera for the revolutionary e-krona digital currency. Now, yes, this was a big move, and it did also put a spotlight on how big of a player Hedera really kind of is becoming around CBDCs, which we've been talking about that on this channel for a while. And also, back in February, we have the HBAR Foundation joining the Digital Euro Association. For those that don't know, the DEA, Digital Euro Association, is a think tank organization that is furthering research and engagement around a digital euro. Now, Hedera is one tied to this. Ripple is also tied to this. I also believe that Aleph Zero is tied to it as well. We actually have a quote down here. We are delighted to partner with the Hbar Foundation, whose efforts in nurturing digital money ecosystems resonate with our vision for the future of money. This collaboration underscores our dedication to exploring and advocating for technologies that ensure the digital currency ecosystem is secure, efficient, and advances the public good. Joining the DEA, the Digital Euro Association, aligns with our commitment to fostering a sustainable and innovative digital future as the lowest carbon footprint decentralized ledger technology, which is also fast and enables transactions to happen at a fraction of a cent. Hedera is uniquely positioned to contribute to the growth of the digital currency ecosystem. We're eager to collaborate with the DEA and contribute to the advancement of digital currencies. And yes, as we really kind of look at this, although it's just a think tank organization, these organizations have been really kind of pushing forward. Even the Digital Pound Foundation is a big player. The Digital Dollar Project is also another one. The moves that they have been making are very significant. And again, Hedera being tied to this proves that Hedera does have a seat at the table. Now over here, we have in order for institutions like the Bank of Ghana to build on a public network, they require trust, scale, and stability. Through the MTech Inc. CBDC Innovation Kit, a number of institutions are testing on the Hedera network, and they are testing CBDCs on Hedera through MTech. MTech is a big key player. I've talked about this back in May of 2021. We're talking about 3 years plus ago. Guys, why is that significant? Well, because MTech, that's when we first got the PDF file regarding Project New Dawn, which is based around a US CBDC. And Hedera was tied to that. And also, Microsoft was also tied to that. Now, if we actually go over here to MTech's website, we have MTech Software Solutions power the creation, compliance, supervision, development, and management of banking infrastructure. And this includes pretty much everything beyond Sandbox, beyond cash, beyond compliance, supervision, e-wallets for digital currency transactions, and customizable APIs for development. Like, this is literally everything that you can think about when it comes to CBDCs. And we have 4 central banks already engaged, 500 plus signups, 4 plus awards, and 20 plus team members. Now, if we go and scroll down, here we have trusted by our customers. Here are all the major central banks, but then also partners that we work with: IBM, Hedera Hashgraph, the Digital Dollar Project, and Microsoft. This is why I bring Microsoft back up, because we've been talking about Microsoft for a while when it comes to Hedera. I've always said that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Microsoft become a GC of Hedera's at some point in time. Obviously, I would like for them to actually build out a product with Hedera first, because most of the GCs haven't been really building out anything. But I do believe that Microsoft will eventually become a GC of Hedera, or even just a major partner of Hedera's as well, because they're already working with some of the largest players that Hedera is tied to. Like, MTech is not the first one at all, but I surely can tell you guys right now that Microsoft has a lot of these deep connections in the space to some of the biggest players, like Ripple, for example, even Hedera. I believe Quant, I might be wrong on that, but I believe Quant is also tied to it, and a few other ones as well. But outside of this, MTech also announced more recently that September 11th at 1440, so 240, there's going to be a big conference, and this is a session on ushering in the new era of modern central banking at the upcoming CBDC Conference in Istanbul. Now, this conference is very large. If we actually go and check this out, it's September 10th through the 12th. The urgency of CBDC, we do get a little bit of a breakdown on this. Central bank digital currency has recently taken the financial world by storm. Inevitably, the question arises, what were the drivers behind such rapid and impressive development? Because it has been moving so quick. Now, they do answer those questions a little bit at this conference. We have why attend. Here's the advisory board as well. Pretty big players here. The Bank of Ghana. There you guys have it. Again, MTech working with the Bank of Ghana on their CBDC is a very big highlight of this. But also, we have the agenda down here, and if we actually look at the agenda, so this is actually the partners list, which we will get to here in a second. But here we actually have the agenda. Now, it is a 3-day event, September 10th through the 12th. A lot of major discussions here, CBDCs being the big focus point. But if you look beyond just CBDCs, we could see like the future of finance with CBDC, offline payments, proper use cases around it, user-centric approach, no connection, no worries, secure offline payments, innovation in financial infrastructure and the sovereign states. And then down here, we also have a few big players from central banks, their perspectives, wholesale CBDCs, the digital euro, I mean, there's so much happening here. There's a lot of heavy discussions. On the 11th is where we actually get a few discussions from not only the Digital Euro Association, which Hedera is tied back to, but we also get a few discussions from MTech. And if we actually look at MTech, we have ushering in the era of modern central banking. If we actually open this up, which we can here in a second, which I will get to, we'll talk a little bit more about it. We also have IDEMIA. IDEMIA, Hedera is also tied back to around a offline CBDC wallet, which is a big focus. Now, this is really not opening up in a new tab. Maybe it doesn't really have something. So here we have a little bit of a breakdown of what the agenda really is, but it doesn't give us the other speakers that will be there around this, because I'm sure that there's going to be some heavy discussions, but it does give us a slight breakdown of what it really is all about, what MTech will be talking about. But there's a lot of central banks here. There is massive amounts of central banks here. IMF is there as well. I believe the BIS is also going to be there, but some very large prominent leaders. And if we actually look at the partners list over here, we have MTech being a partner. There's a few other major partners here as well. IDEMIA is one, Oracle is one. Here we have some media partners. We have knowledge partners as well, where we have the Digital Pound Foundation and even the DEA. So love to see that. Now, if we actually look at the speakers here, again, all massive giant banks, very large companies. Here you have MTech, the Bank of England. Again, it just kind of goes to show you that these major central banks are engaged. They are here at these conferences talking about the future of finance, talking about the future of CBDCs. And I do believe that specific companies like MTech are being tapped in, and they are utilizing technology like Hedera. Now, last but not least, I do want to wrap this video up by playing this video clip here. It's about 2.5 minutes long. We have at the THF, we're seeing faster institutional Web3 adoption in emerging economies where legacy financial infrastructure is less established. This is the head of fintech and payments at the Hedera Foundation discussing CBDCs and remittances. Check this out.
And bringing them into potentially traditional banking rails.
I think to follow up on the CBDC point, I see more adoption or faster adoption in emerging economies. I guess because the infrastructure is not that mature and there's kind of a desire to leapfrog. So that's definitely one trend where, I mean, certain governments, not all of them, but certain central banks are quite proactive in adopting blockchain there. You know, just when it comes to local currencies not being very strong, then there can be some tension because people are actually going to, you know, buy Bitcoin, buy, you know, USDT or the USDC to try and hedge their the inflation. And that's not always that can be seen as a threat, right, by some certain countries. But I think it's a good wake-up call, right? It's a good reminder for those governments to actually you know, have maybe more discipline in how their currency is being managed. But yeah, overall, I think the adoption, generally speaking, is higher in emerging economies. Just because the need and the opportunities are also less in terms of being able to invest as a retail investor. There's not that much. That maybe a local stock exchange is not that strong, and maybe there's not easy access to, you know, buying some S&P 500 or some other funds, right? So, but lack of instruments, right? Then that creates a need to kind of explore on the crypto end of things. Also, a number of emerging economies are highly dependent upon remittance, and remittance is slow and expensive, and crypto becomes kind of a de facto way to send money home. It's faster, cheaper, and then to off-ramp it, I don't know, in the Philippines, off-ramp it off a local exchange into peso. And so yeah, I think it picks up where the traditional ecosystem kind of lacks. And eventually kind of starts merging, because you start seeing, like, to continue on the Philippines example, more digital banks, and with the adoption, like, you know, they tend to be very, maybe even more forward-looking than some of the banks in the more mature economies.
And she 100% is correct. Like, everything that we are now seeing, everything's accelerating, especially around, you know, institutional side of Web3, but also even the, major central banking side. Central banks are engaging heavily. Institutions are here in a large way around tokenization. This is only going to continue to heat up in a large way, and I do believe that Hedera is at the forefront of this. I also believe that Hedera has been, in recent times, really kind of stealing the spotlight away from some of the more prominent names in the space, and I've talked about this on multiple occasions as well, where you need to start taking Hedera seriously. I get it, right? We're still looking at price action. Everyone's, floating all these, FUD ideas around. There's a lot of problems here, there, whatever. But you got to remember that we're still in the infancy stages of this market. We're still in the infancy stages of governments and central banks and institutions embracing this technology in a large way. And we're not even at the point where we have regulatory clarity. That is the key that actually opens the door for trillions and trillions of dollars to actually flood on chain. So focus on the end goal here. Focus on how big of a player Hedera is. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.